Okay, so hello, my name is Matthew Pashkowsky, and this is my recording of Homework 2 for the Robotic Science and Systems class by Matt Tuck. So to start off, getting to the circular orbit, we have launch. Here, the rocket is going to burn upwards until it runs out of solid fuel, at which point it will stage to discard the solid fuel tanks. The solid fuel being significantly better at propelling, it was useful to get it as high as possible. As soon as the solid fuel is done, and it is just the liquid fuel, the heading of the rocket will change, and it changes so that it is proportional to the height of the apoapsis compared to what I want that to be. I'm trying to achieve orbit at about 75,000 meters, which is 5,000 above the Kerbin atmosphere. So as we see, the solid engines have staged off, and now we have begun to start turning. We are still heading east to gain velocity from the rotation of Kerbin, as is recommended. So now the liquid fuel is almost up, at which point the rocket will stage and the final liquid fuel will come out. We can see the delta V up here in the middle. We're starting out at about 2,000, but the apoapsis is only at the mid 60,000s. Periapsis is still in the middle of Kerbin, and we are still only 45,000 meters above the surface. So it is still going to be a little bit. Okay. At this point, now that the apoapsis has reached the desired height, the rocket is trying to propel itself as much as it can horizontally so that it can achieve a circular orbit. I had some issues where later on the apoapsis would start flying off, and I would end up with an orbit where the periapsis is at about 75,000, but the apoapsis is at 400,000. So in order to compensate for that, this burn is not quite even with the horizon, it's slightly lower. And then there is also a scaled criteria for if the apoapsis starts to become out of the desired target range, that the rocket will pitch itself further downwards towards Kerbin to try to bring the apoapsis height. So altitude, at this point, the rocket has escaped the atmosphere of Kerbin, and we are just waiting for that circular orbit to be obtained. The apoapsis is still looking good at around 75,000. Periapsis is continuing to rise, so we're getting close to it being at 0, and now we're in positive. At this point, the screen starts to freak out a little, and it resolves itself. As we can see up there, I have 281 delta V left. The periapsis is at 75,000 roughly, which is above the Kerbin atmosphere, and the apoapsis is below 81,000, which means it's within 10% of the periapsis height.